Hello, welcome to Hatha Yoga. And today we're going to be building up to Malasana squat. So if that's not a good place for you to be, or you know that you can't squat real deep or your hips shouldn't go beyond your knees, no worries. There will be an option for everyone. So that being said, I've got a couple blocks here. You might want those for low lunge. I'm also going to offer it if you want it during an extended side angle. The folded blanket is, I'm going to bring mine into Shavasana, but you can also use it for a knee cushion or something like that as needed. And then we will use a strap at the end. So I've got that available as well. So from here, good. Just take a moment and see if you can get your hips, knees, feet in this nice alignment here, about hip width apart. So remember, hip width apart is where your hip bones are. It's not about how wide you think you are. It's where the bones are. Good. And finding that center line of engagement, that kind of drawing up and in, that wrapping around. I'm just going to relax my arms to the side. Just taking a moment here to breathe and noticing that breath. Is that breath calm, rapid, smooth, choppy? Can we breathe with the expansion of the rib cage? Good. And then once you're ready, take a big inhale and reach. Good. And let the knees bend as we come down. So as we do this movement here, really press into the feet and the legs. Let the feet and the legs give you the power here to come all the way back up to standing. And then that way the back doesn't take the load, the legs do, and you're working on that leg strength at the same time. Good. And the next time we come up, reach up. I'm going to take my left hand to my right wrist. I'm going to lift up and just take that over. Notice how I didn't shift my hips out here. I'm still keeping my hips over my ankles. And I'm breathing and expanding. Also notice if you have this forward collapse here of the shoulder, and if you do, can you open that up a little bit more in alignment with the hips? Good. And then we'll come up. We'll take that to the other side. Good. Breathing. And then when you're ready, good, we'll come back up. And I'm just going to take those arms down and rolling the shoulders around. So we're going to take this into a rag doll. So I will show you this sideways and forward here in a moment. But if you've got a forward flexion issue in your spine where forward flexion is not a good idea, I want you to keep a long back here. But what you're going to do is I'm just going to kind of imagine I'm peeling off a wall. And I'm going to let the knees bend as they need to. Arms are just going to go where they can go. Good. And then I'm going to press through the feet and the legs. They're taking the load, not the back, as I come all the way up to standing. Good. Now we'll change that a little bit here. Good. So I'm going to rotate a little bit. Good. And kind of go down from the side. Knees are going to bend here as you come down. Head and hands are going to just hold free, coming to the other side, pressing into those feet, rounding all the way up to standing, and then we'll take that to the other side. Good. Again, just letting your body move with you. And coming back up. Good. From here, I'm going to come into a little bit of a squat, hands to the thighs, and we're going to take some cat-cows. So again, move your spine in the direction and the way that it needs you to move. You can round, good, and extend. And cat, and cow. And exhale, inhale, and exhale, and inhale, pressing through the feet and the legs, coming all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Good. Now, while we're here, create an intention for your practice. What would you like to give or receive from this practice? You can always dedicate it to someone or something. And then from here, good. We're going to take this into a half sun salute, and we're going to keep building on this. So just be mindful. So if you can't touch the floor, or very well, bring your blocks in here, and I'm going to actually use my blocks here for this first one. So from here, good, I'm going to inhale and reach. Exhale, bend the knees as needed as you come down. Let the head and neck hang free. Pressing into the feet and the legs. Lift and lengthen halfway. Finding the good breath. And you can always come to fifth here if you've got a little wrist issue. But again, even here, I'm not hanging into my block. I'm making my legs do the work so I can lengthen my spine. And then we'll bend the knees and we'll come back down. Pressing into the feet and the legs. We'll come all the way up. Reaching and exhale, hands to heart center. Now, always coming back to the breath. We'll add on to that this time. Big inhale and we'll reach. Exhale, take that fold. Good. This time, hands can be to the block if that's where you need to be, or the floor. And this time, I'm just going to let my head and neck drop free here. Shaking the head, yes. Shaking the head, no. Good. I'm going to take my peace fingers, which is going to be the middle finger and the pointer finger, around my toes. And you can do the same thing if you can reach. And for some of you, this might be it. I'm going to press into my feet and my legs. I'm going to pull up on my toes. And I'm going to lengthen my spine here. Your legs may not be perfectly straight. My legs are still a little bent. But if I just press into my legs, it's easier to lengthen my back. And when you're ready, good. You can release. Good. Pressing into the feet and the legs. We're going to take it up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Taking a moment, noticing. We'll do that again. We'll add on again. Big inhale and we'll reach. Exhale and we'll fold. So from here, again, you can have hands on the block. You can take the toes. If you're able and you want to, you can slide the hands underneath the feet. You might have to kind of watch some rings if you've got those. And maybe massaging the meaty part of the hand with the toes. And this might be enough for some people, but I'm also going to lengthen the arms, lengthen the back, pressing into the feet just a little bit more. Again, my knees are a little bit bent here. Find the breath. And then if you have your hands under the feet, we'll release. Inhale, lift and lengthen halfway, pressing into the feet and the legs. Exhale, and we'll fold that down, pressing into the feet and the legs as I come up. And exhale, hands to heart. Good. From here, once you're ready, we're going to step back to a low lunge. So from here, you can come up, get that nice little knee bend as you come down. Good. I'm going to step my right leg back. Good. And bring that right knee down. So my left foot is forward, and I'm going to recommend bringing blocks in here. So you want this heel to be on the floor. So if it's back here and it's up here like this foot, pick it up and put it more forward. Okay? Good. So finding your lunge, finding your length, because we don't want to collapse down in here. So finding your length, finding the breath, keeping that center line of engagement. Good. Now, you're welcome to stay down here if that's where you need to be. Good. I'm going to press through the front heel, coming up here. You can also come up here. So this is a little balance challenge here. Be mindful. And then let's get into the shoulders a little bit. I'm going to take my arms forward. I'm going to clasp them around, like a separation of the shoulder blades here, making sure the shoulders are down. Good. And then we will release. So we're going to take this into a twist. Different things for different people. You want to find your length. You can keep your right hand on the floor or on a block. So here's what it's like on the floor, and twist to the left. Or if you want a little bit more power behind it, you can tuck the back toe, lift the back knee, and find that twist. So you find yours where you need to find it. Same with the breath. And we'll take that down. Good. From here, I'm going to lower that back knee. Good. My front foot's going to step back. We're going to come down onto the belly. Good. And as I come down here, good, I'm going to take my arms a little bit more forward. So zipping up that front body, I'm going to press into my elbows, forearms, and hands as I lift up and finding a space. So I'm going to take my chest a little bit more forward. My shoulders are down, maybe reaching a little bit through the feet. Energetically, my elbows are coming more towards my belly, which might make it a little bit of a deeper back bend for some people. Just make sure you're not hanging anywhere. So we don't want to hang here. Don't go up as high if it's not for your back. Good, and then we'll take that down. Good. Take just a little wiggle here if that would feel good to you. And we're going to take this into a downward facing dog. We're going to move there through a tabletop position. So hands under the shoulders. Good. Pressing up. Good. I'm going to tuck the toes. I'm pressing in and forward into the hands, rooting through the knuckles of pinky, pointer, and thumb as I lift my knees and my hips to ceiling. Good. Now, mind your good down dog form. Elbows are going to turn forward a little bit. They can be bent. Shoulders away from the ears, head and neck are free. Knees might have a bend in them. You might have some length. Pressing evenly into big toe and pinky toe mounds. Breathe. Good. While we're here, good. Really root into the upper body. Right leg's going to lift 3-point. So notice what's firing up here in the upper body to keep you here. What's happening in the left leg. I'm going to bend the right knee, and I'm going to open up to the right. Good. Breathing here. And then I'm going to take that foot back down. Good. Once you're ready, inhale, look forward, walk, step, maybe hop your feet forward to meet your hands, keeping a little bend in the knee. Good. Inhale, lift and lengthen halfway, pressing into the feet and the legs. Nice long back. And exhale and fold. Pressing through the feet and the legs. We'll rise up. And exhaling. Hands to heart. Good. We're going to take that back to the other side. So this time, I'm going to step my left leg back. Good. I'm just going to let that knee come down. Good. Taking that front foot more forward. Good. And I want my blocks here today, so I'm going to bring them in. There we go. Finding that nice long back. Breathing. Remember, you're into that front heel. We're still into that center line of engagement. And then when you're ready, knowing you can stay here as long as you want, pressing into that front heel, you can come here. You can come up. And then we'll get into the front of the shoulders. So from here, good, different things for different people. You can take your hands to the top of the hip and just press the elbows back. You can clasp, you can press down, you can roll back and lift. Do what's appropriate for your body. For me, that's going to be this one today. Just kind of finding it where you need to find it. And then once you're ready, good. You can take the hands back down to the floor to your block. So again, same options for a twist here. Finding your length. Left hand can come to a block or to the floor with the back knee down, opening up to the right. Or for more power, you can tuck the back toe, lifting the back knee, and finding your twist here. So find it where you need to find it. Might be different on this side. Sides are different sometimes. And then once ready, we'll take that down. I'm going to lower my back knee. I'm going to take my front foot back. I'm going to come back down onto the belly. Good. So finding that Sphinx again, or you can take a Cobra variation here, depending. But I'm still going to take my hands a little forward and to the side. So from here, again, rolling the shoulders back, zipping up that front body. Good. You might have a baby Cobra or Sphinx. You might have a medium Cobra or high Cobra. Shoulders away from the ears. No crunching or hanging in the low back. And breathe. And we'll gently lower that down. Good. Hands under the shoulders. Take a downward facing dog in the way that's best for you to get there. And then just noticing again. And when you're ready, good. Finding that center line, left leg's going to lift 3-point. Again, notice the upper body, what has to fire up. Find your strength in the right leg. We'll bend that knee, and we'll open to the left. And then from here, hip and knee are going to come back even to the floor. Foot comes down. Inhale, look forward, bend the knees, walk, step, or hop your feet forward to meet your hands. Pressing through the feet and the legs, lift and lengthen the halfway. Exhale, we'll take that down. And then again, pressing into the feet and the legs. Exhale as we rise. Inhale as we rise. Exhale, hands to heart center. Good. And again, taking a moment, returning to your mountain, returning to the breath, return to intention. Good. And then once you're ready, so we're going to do a step back here into a lunge. It'll be a step back into a lunge. We'll go to a warrior 2 from there, and an extended side angle, and then a wide legs forward fold. So I'm just going to move my blocks here to the side as we go into the series. So we're going to start on the left leg first, or at least the left leg being the front leg first. So if you need a block for extended side angle, then go ahead and bring that in. So I'm just going to set my right foot back for right now. Move that a little bit closer. Good. Good. So get stable here, and if you need a longer front leg to find that stability first, then go ahead and do so. Good. Now I'm pressing evenly into big toe and pinky toe mounds to the back. Good. Front knee can bend. Maybe the front hip comes back slightly. You don't have to be at a square, but just a little bit more stability there. And then you can choose. It might be easier on the back here. Notice how that changes when you come out and changes again when you come up. And when ready, good. We're going to lengthen that front leg for our transition. So right hip, it's going to turn out, so the knee and the foot are going to follow. Okay. And then from here, good. As you bend that front knee, you want it to track towards pinky toe. It'll help if you take that front hip back just a little bit. Good. And then without moving the hips, could you open the chest to the side and reach? Good. Get into the heels of both feet. Breathing. Good. So you want to come out if your body tells you it's time to come out, whether I'm doing that or not. Always listen to yourself. And then from here, good. You can lengthen that front leg if you need a short break. I'm going to come back into that bend. Good. And then from here, pressing into both feet. Good. I'm lengthening. Good. So remember, this is not a forward fold and collapsing in here. You want to find that length from the legs. Forearm can come to the thigh. You can take a block here and then open up. So opening up the chest. So a good twist is going to come with a nice long back. It's harder on the back when you're trying to do it from a collapsing flexion part. Good. And just open up the chest. The front hip is still back a little bit, so your hips are not going to be squared to the side. Finding breath. And looking down at that front foot. Good. I'm going to take that down. Both hands on the inside of that foot. I'm going to walk my hands around. I'm in a wide leg forward fold here. Good. Pressing through the outer edges of the feet. Good. And you're going to choose where you go. Do you want to stay here? Do you want the elbows to bend back? Do you want to walk the hands forward and shift back? Do you want to take them underneath? You can take yogi shin or yogi toe. Find where you want to go, but could you find length in the torso here? Maybe head and neck can be free. And it's okay to keep a little bend in the knees. It's okay to yield a little bit there. And just kind of play a little bit. If I bend one knee on one side, how does that feel? If I bend it a little bit more on the other side, how does that feel? If I bend both, how does that feel? If I lengthen, how does that feel? No wrong answers, as long as there's not pain, numbness, tingling, or burning. And then when you're ready, good. Hands are going to come back underneath the shoulders. Good. So those of you that are stronger are going to press to the outer edges of the feet, and you're going to come up with the legs. Others are going to put a bend in the knees and walk your hands back up. Good. From here, hips, knees, and toes are going to turn out away from the body. Good. We'll get just a little bit of a sunrise flow here. So I want you to be mindful of what the knees are doing. If they're folding inward here, really press through the outer edges of the feet and see if you can take a wider stance. Don't be afraid to take a wider stance. Okay. And then from here, we're just going to hold. So be mindful of what this looks like, because some of you, this is going to be your malasana today. And then once you're ready, pressing up. Good. You can heel toe things in and step back forward to the top of your mat. We're going to take that all to the other side. So I'm just going to move over here. So now I'm going to take the left leg back. Good. finding that high lunge. And you can lengthen that front leg if you need to as you get yourself there. Good. The front hip will come back just a little bit. It won't be a perfect square. You just want more stability. Arms down, side, or up. Strong in the front heel. I'm using my center line engagement to help me with balance. We'll lengthen that front leg from that left hip. Good, we'll turn out. Good, find the alignment that works for your body here. Good, now maybe the front hip comes back just a little bit. I'm gonna bend that front knee. And then without moving my hips, I'm gonna take my chest open, finding my warrior two. So when you take the front hip back here, that helps the knee track towards the pinky toe. If you're trying to square your hips up to the side, which is an older cue, but I still see people try that, the knee can't track towards the pinky toe. The femur does different funny things in its joint, and you run the risk of low back injury there. So be mindful. And then good. I'm going to lengthen out of here for just a moment. And then when I'm ready, I'm going to come back into the warrior two. We're going to take this into the extended side angle from here. So really get into the feet, get into the heels, lengthen, strong upper body. When you can come no more, take a forearm to the thigh. You can bring in a block here, opening up, nice and long torso. If you're kind of collapsing down in here like this, consider a block or forearms. You can be nice and lifted. Lift from the leg. When you're ready, I'm going to look down at that front foot. Good. I'm going to take my hands down onto the inside of that foot. I'm going to walk my hands back around. I'm back in a nice wide leg forward fold. Hips, knees, and toes are pointing forward. And again, choose where you want to be here. Do you want to be here? Do you want to do the same thing you did before? Do you want to do something different? I'm going to do something different, taking my arms forward, shifting back. Again, play with the yielding a little bit. Does it feel better? If you have a little bend in the knees, does it feel better? If you're a little bit longer. And we'll take the hands back underneath the shoulders. And once more, come up out of here in a way that's safe for you. Do you need to, press the outer edges of the feet, or do you need to bend the knees and walk up? Second time, hip, knees, and toes are going to turn out away from the body. Sunrise flow. Good. And pressing through the heels. Nice long back. Yeah. And then we'll just take a pause. And then we'll lift up. Good. You can heel, toe, and then stepping things back together, back from the top of your mat. And just take a moment, noticing how you feel. Okay, so we're gonna set up for Malasana squat now. So different things for different people, and be mindful if a medical professional has told you not to take your hips below your knees, then please do not take your hips below your knees. Honor what they told you. They told you that for a reason. So some of you might come out a little bit, and you're just gonna come in to what we just did. That might be your Malasana squat. If balance is an issue for you, you can come up against the wall here and find your Malasana squat. You can also find yourself up against the wall if you're going a little bit lower. or need some balance but don't have blocks. So for those of you that do have blocks, couple options here. I recommend if you're going to use 2 blocks, make sure the bottom one is nice and stable. So you don't want to try to stack 2 blocks like this. That's dangerous. You can be here. You can be here, here, here. Okay. You can take 1 block here, here, or here. And some of you may not need blocks today. Now I am going to use a block today, so I'm going to take mine there. Okay, and kind of come into that. So as I come into this, I'm just going to kind of make some adjustments here with my feet. Good. You want your heels to be flat on the floor. So if they're not, see if you take your legs a little bit wider, that fixes it. And if not, take a blanket or part of your mat or something like that underneath there so they're supported, so you don't put unnecessary strain and risk on your knees. Okay. And then from here, let's find that center line. Belly button is in nice and tight. You're breathing, coming back to intention. And then you're welcome to stay here or maybe make this into a twist. So I'm going to release to my left. I've got a long back. I'm going to open to the right. And then we'll come back to center. Good. Reset at center. I'm going to release to the right, open to the left. And then from here, we'll come back down. Good. From here, if you're already kind of doing a standing version, just come back to standing. Those of you that are down and doing something more like I'm doing, just take your hands to the floor, press into those heels, and just lift up. Good. And then in the way that's best for your body, yeah, just find yourself back down on the mat. Let's come to a child's pose here. A child's pose. So knees can be together as wide as it matters, somewhere in between. And you can take your arms long in front of you or hands by the ankles. Now notice after that Malasana squat, if you do this one a lot, does this feel better after the Malasana squat on the hip? Maybe it's the same or no different. And then when ready, hands under the shoulders. We'll come up to a seat. Now I'm going to bring a blanket in here to sit on, but we're going to take this into a little bit of a seated forward fold. And we're going to do this one a little bit differently. So if you're familiar with Pilates mat work, then basically what this is a spine stretch forward. So this is a forward flexion of the spine. If that's not what you need to do, then you're going to keep a long back as you come forward and then a long back as you come back up. Okay. So from here, my feet are a little bit wider than hip width apart. I'm going to take my arms forward and I'm going to envision myself peeling off an imaginary wall. So I'm just going to take that chin down. I'm scooping in that belly button. So I've still got that center line. Good. I'm just going to take a little roll here. And you're going to go to your limit, which might be different than my limit. Good. And then from here, starting at the tailbone, we're going to stack bone by bone back up into that nice tall seat. We'll do that 2 more times. Good. Just moving with the breath. And if this is something that you would like to practice, maybe you don't feel like you're stacking enough or, starting straight enough, you can always do this at an actual wall and practice peeling off and restacking bone by bone. Good. And let's do that one more time. Inhale, exhale. And it's kind of coming back a little bit to what we did in the beginning when we did the standing. And coming back up and just relax. Good. Now we're going to take this into a twist and we're going to take our arms out to the side. So I want you to envision that your arms are like a rod. So when we twist, the back arm doesn't come forward here. Okay. So from here, sitting nice and tall, I'm going to sit a little bit out to my wall. Good. Center line is engaged. I'm going to rotate. And back to center. The other side and rotate. And back to center one more time each side. To the right. And center and to the left. And come back center and relax down. Good. We're going to come onto our backs now. And because we're not going into a back bend, if you have a blanket that you would like to use, a little neck pillow, you can certainly bring that in. We're also going to grab our strap here and make sure my blocks are out of the way. Okay. So just have the strap to the side for the moment. And as you come down onto your back, take a moment and kind of roll the shoulders back, maybe moving any clothing from behind you that got a little bunched up, feet as wide as the mat. Good. Now find that center line of engagement, and we're going to let the knees gently go from side to side. But with that center line engaged, you might not come as deep as you might when it's not engaged. I want you to feel and notice those differences, and notice how it feels when you come back to center as well. The center line, remember, it's a drawing up and in of the core, and like you would if you were putting on a tight pair of jeans. Good. And then we'll come back to center. Okay. Now, take your strap. Good. We're going to put the right foot into the strap. Your left knee can be bent or extended long. Just kind of do what's best for your back here. And upper body's going to stay grounded, but I'm going to choke up here because I've got that range. Micro bend in that knee. Gently bring in towards the face. Good. Big breaths. Just notice how it feels. Remember, the only wrong answer is pain, numbness, tingling, or burning. If you feel those, we've gone too far and want to back off. Speaking of back off, we'll do that here. Both pieces of the strap are going to come into the right hand, keeping that center line of engagement. Right leg's going to come out to the right. Left hip's going to stay on the floor. You can kind of tug towards that shoulder if you need to. And we'll come back up. Good. And we'll switch hands. Good. Keeping that center line, we'll arc over. Good. Now, once you get into place, your happy spot here, you can also do this with a bent knee. You can choose to stay here or take it over more into a twist. I'm too close to my wall. Here we go. Or take it into a twist. Keeping the foot and the hip in that same height. We don't want the foot to flop on the floor. And keeping that center line. Wonderful stretch all the way on the outside here. And we'll come back up. Good. And then from here, I'm just going to do a mid-air switcheroo with my feet. So right knee can be bent or extended long. Just kind of choose what feels best onto your body. And it might be different on this side than the other side. Good. Upper body is going to stay grounded as well. Gently bring that leg into the face. Just taking advantage of the moment and settle in. And we'll gently release both pieces of the strap into the left hand. Good. Find that center line. Good. Right hip doesn't move. Good. And then find your stretch over here. And once ready, good. Using the center line, slow and controlled, we're going to bring that leg back in. Good. We'll switch hands. Good. Arc over, finding your best spot, and then choosing if you're going to stay in the spot or taking it over. So you want the foot and the hip to stay in alignment, foot's not lower than the hip. And then take this back to center. Good. And then we will remove that foot from the strap. Now, we're going to do one more thing here. We're going to come into a happy baby. Happy baby. So I will say if happy adult is a better option for you, you can let the knees kind of go out to the side. Shin or knees will be bent. You can grab onto the shins. Okay. Those of you with happy baby, good. You can do yogi toe inside or outside of the foot. Feet are flat, like you're standing on the ceiling. And there's a gentle tug down, knees towards the floor, and a nice lengthening of the spine. So if you want to look at this from a different perspective, we've already done this pose. We did it on our feet when we did Malasana, right? It's a different version of the same thing. And then when you're ready, good, you can carefully release. Take the legs long here just to give the hip crease area a little bit of a break. And if you need to kind of pat that out for a moment, then you can do that as well. And then from here, we'll go into our Shavasana. So I'm going to come to constructive rest today. So I'm just going to bend my knees. You can leave your legs long. You can be on your back. You can be on your belly, whatever feels best for you. Kind of get yourself into a place where you won't fidget. This is not the time to check your cell phone, those kinds of things. It's a time for you to settle in and learn how to be still and with yourself. And I'll leave you here for a few moments. And then Let's take some deep breaths here. And choosing stillness, gently taking the head and neck from side to side, inviting movement of fingers and toes. Choosing stillness, bringing the knees into the chest, choosing to keep the upper body on the floor, or maybe lifting up into a full body hug. And choosing stillness, removing any props out of the way if you used any today, and find a nice full body stretch. You're reaching from the fingertips to the toes. Now, that feels so nice. And once you're ready, bending in the knees, and then rolling over to the right or left side, the side that works best for your body in this moment. Taking all the time that you need here. When you're ready, pressing yourself up to a seat. Finding a nice tall spine. Palms coming up, reaching up, touching palms together. As you bring the hands down, we'll touch the thumbs to the forehead for good and true thought, to the lips for good and kind words, and to the heart for open and loving heart. Knowing no effort on this mat is ever wasted, no gain is ever reversed. May you be safe. May you stay well. May you have a wonderful day, evening, week, month, season ahead. Namaste.